In this video, we finally leave the Tuamotus for Tahiti, embarking on a 30-hour overnight passage through known rough seas. A strong gusty wind and big seas push us to learn a new way to add a reef, our attempt to slow down and prevent the bow cracks from increasing in size. Despite less sail area, we still arrive way earlier than anticipated and find that our preconceived notions at Tahiti were all wrong. Wow, look at that beautiful full moon. You get to see the moon set, sunrise, and we are getting the boat ready to take off here in a few minutes. The wind has picked up perfectly. We're gonna have pretty much what should be a beam reach all the way to Tahiti. We have got to make it there before noon. Otherwise, we're gonna get nailed with some big winds. So we are gonna try and hightail it, average 6 knots, which shouldn't be a problem with 15 knots on the beam for our boat. We will single reef for sure. We've got to keep an eye out on those cracks that we've got in both of the bows. Hopefully they won't grow while we're underway. If so, we'll drop the sails and motor. So that's the plan of action. We've got 173 miles, so it should take us around 30 hours. Yeah, Brown's rocking it. All right, we're headed out the pass at 4 o'clock this morning. The tide changed from incoming to outgoing, so we should have an outgoing tide, which is helpful to us, and it looks super calm out there, which is great. We are in the pass now, and we've got about 2 knots behind us, which is really nice. We are going 7.5 knots like that. What a beautiful morning. Knots, not bad. Dolphins! Wow, we are flying. These conditions are some of the best for our boat, and it just makes the boat so happy. 15 knots on the beam. We're averaging between 7 and 8.5. We've actually put a reef in the main and a reef in the jib to slow her down a little bit, and we're still flying. So it's a little bit tough with the wave action. The waves are coming from the side, so a lot of boat motion, but man, this is better than we could have ever imagined in terms of speed. We are slated to get in 23 hours, which is way less than we had predicted. So we were hoping to just keep up 6 knots, and we're maintaining 8. Other than being a really frisky sail, it is going well. We're doing between 7.5 and 8 knots. It is 3 o'clock, my last daytime shift before Brown takes over at 6. But before he takes over, we are going to have to put a double reef in our main sail. Why do we do this? We do it because it's a lot safer. Once we put the double reef into that sail, we can accept winds up to about 35 to 40 knots. We're also going to reef the jib so we could see upwards of 35-40 knot winds, and we would be okay. So reefing it means to reduce the amount of sail area. We're doing this overnight because we are probably going to get hit with some squalls, and if we get hit with squalls, they're usually about 10 knots more than what the current wind situation is. So we're averaging 16 to 20, which means we could be upwards of 30 to 35. We really don't want to go to 35 without a double reef in. So we're going to try something new. We're going to try not to have to go into the waves today. To put in a second reef, the easiest way would be, if it was calm, moving us so that we would be heading into the wind, which is that way. The problem with doing that right now is we've got unsettled seas, which means that the boat would not react well. We would be tossed all over the place. So we instead are going to turn the boat slightly into the wind, and then we're going to move the boom out this direction so that it mimics being straight into the wind. And that way the sail will not have any wind in it and power, and we can drop it to get to the second reef line. So we're going to try and make that work. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully it'll all work out fine, and we'll be second reefed and ready for the night shift. Woo! I'm very happy to report that our shortcut to not having to put the boat into the waves and straight into the wind worked. Yes! So happy. It's done. The list was very helpful. I know some of you are probably thinking, why didn't you use a downhaul? First of all, we don't have one. Then you're thinking, well, why didn't you just use the reef line to pull the sail down? And the reason is because we can't use a single line system. We have to use a dual system where we have to clip in at the mast, because if we don't, we shred our reef lines. So those would be two great suggestions, but they wouldn't work in our case. But we did winch down on the second reef line in the back of the sail, which did help pull the sail down from the back. Brown's now checking the rigging on the boat and also checking water tanks, because we've been making water all day, almost to the end of the day, still doing 7.5 knots, and we are double reefed and single reefed on the jib. So now we can have up to 35 knots of wind, and we don't have to worry about it. So we can go into the night and feel good about this. And ETA is around 6 in the morning, so that's good.
Well, we haven't really had any squalls, but what we have had is super strong wind, and the sea state is really confused, so we are moving all over the place. As a matter of fact, it loosened one of the wires on our chart plotter, and the chart plotter kept shutting down. Thankfully, we were able to find it and reconnect it and tighten it, which has solved that problem. But we are a little concerned with the speed that we are keeping. We're doing 7.5 knots. We just can't slow down at this point. We've double reefed everything. I mean, I guess we could really take the jib in more, but we also want to get there. And it's just been a rough go. Very, very thankful that the cracks are not getting bigger and there's no water ingress in the bows. So it seems like we're stable, but obviously, I'm really nervous. We went from a beam to close haul, so everything is just a bit rougher. But we're doing okay. We'll get there. 6 more hours.
You may not be able to see it, but the sun is coming up, and we are very close to getting beyond the line of wind. We are not there yet, and the wind is giving us one final gust. But we are also flying, So I would say in the next mile or two, we will get to a point where we lose the wind completely, which will make us very happy. Look at those stats, almost 10 knots. 30 was the max apparent wind speed. We really crushed it. We're gonna make this trip in 24 hours, 170 miles, that's not bad. Wow, there's
I know, they're so close, aren't they?
And there's Tahiti.
Wow.
Wow. Wow, it's a beautiful sight. Look at that. We are approaching the entrance into Papeete inside the reef, and to enter the reef we actually have to call on VHF to Papeete control to ask for permission to enter, because with our mast at 70 feet we are a hazard to the airport, and when we enter this pass and head to the anchorage we're going to go right past the end of the runway. So we're gonna give VHF a call now and ask for permission to enter. Papeete port control, Papeete port control. This is blown away, blown away.
Runway, Papeete port control, good morning, go ahead.
Yorana, thank you so much. We are about 1.5 miles outside of the entrance to the pass. We would like to request permission to enter, please.
Runway, copy. You may proceed. You have the permission to entering the harbor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we need to call you again when we pass the runway?
Yes, please just call me 5 minutes before crossing the airport runway. Thank you.
Okay, merci beaucoup. This is the only port of entry up here. There is one further to the south. And all of the sailing boats, sailing vessels have to stay on in one anchorage, and that's the airport anchorage. So that is where we're headed.
Runway, Papeete port clear to cross. You may proceed.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
We've got permission to cross the end of the runway, which is what we're gonna do coming up here soon. Oh man, that is so cool. We now have a claim to fame. We made a plane wait to take off. You know what I'm most excited about this morning?
What?
I don't have to use chain floats here. Woo!
Look how pretty this is.
Wow. Whoa, that's a lot of boats. Can't think of the last time I've been somewhere where we've seen that many boats. We were thrilled to have arrived safely in Tahiti, and were so surprised at the beauty of the airport anchorage. We were definitely anticipating something very different. From the name Airport Anchorage, our minds conjured up a place we would not want to stay very long. But after dropping the anchor in 6 feet of water, inhaling the sweet aroma of frangipani, and assessing our new neighborhood, we thought, this is definitely a place where we could stay for a while.